Throughout time, different biases have formed and shaped the way we think about Africa and African culture's roles in human history. Consequently, viewpoints on the importance of studying Africa vary as well. It is necessary to continue the study of Africa as it is the location of human origins and plentiful resources, as well as biases from past scholars, education systems, and present day media need to be factually countered. Modern science has successfully sequenced the human genome, and it proves to be 99.9% identical across the world. With the vast amount of variation we see in humankind, it can be difficult to imagine a single human origin. Nearly a century ago, naturalist Charles Darwin proposed his theory of evolution and the idea of Africa as the central location of human origin. The out of Africa hypothesis is currently the most widely accepted model of human origin, and it states that modern-day humans evolved on the continent of Africa over 100,000 years ago and then dispersed across the world. Evidence such as fossils and mitochondrial DNA, or DNA strictly passed down from mother to child, are scientific developments that both thoroughly support the out of Africa model of human origins.
We study Africa to discover and define an accurate representation of its history, culture, and consciousness. Scholars and philosophers have spread false information about the continent throughout history. For example, Hegel, an early German philosopher, declared that Africa was not a part of history and it lacked any serious movement or development. These false and racist notions of Africa has created a significant bias on the world's perception of the continent. A more recent example has been the debate on whether African civilizations had an influence on ancient Greece's development. Despite evidence indicating Africa's influence, classicists continue to debate and argue for ancient Greece's independent evolution.
Bernal claimed that during the last 200 years, scholars rewrote the history books, denying that ancient Greece had roots in Africa and Asia. The myth they created of a pure white, unsullied dawn of Western civilization was a result of both anti-Semitism and racism. And he argues it still influences the perception the West has of itself today.
African scholars have made claims that American textbooks are poorly written, and they mostly speak on the stereotypes of Africa. The African scholars claim that the reason that American textbooks are so poorly written is because our authors use weak sources to conduct their research. Although our textbooks have improved over time, that doesn't necessarily mean that the stereotypes associated with Africa will be eliminated.
One of the first major contributions of Africa is gold. The country that is commonly associated with gold is Ghana. Another resource that is given to us by Africa is salt. Salt is usually found in the southernmost parts of Africa, or places that tend to be further away from the Sahara Desert. Salt and gold were equally valuable, so they were often traded as the equivalent of one another. For example, 1 pound of salt was equal to 1 pound of gold. Music is another thing that was given to us by Africa. African music can be broken down into 2 categories: North African music and Black African music. These categories are then broken down by region and instrument type. The tambora is found in the East region, while instruments such as the djembe can be found in the West regions.
This is a photo that is portraying the very philanthropic event that this organization does. In no way is this photo trying to intentionally be biased or stereotypical. However, Gwyneth Paltrow is indeed not African. This war paint and big necklace placed around her neck is very biased in a way that it is making those that see this magazine believe that this is how Africans are supposed to look and dress. This photo shoot was intended to be a recreated safari camp resort. So already with it being a recreated shoot, the surrounding people and objects are in many ways stereotyped. Knightley is standing on top of a rock posted directly above several spear-wielding savages. This shows her dominance compared to those that are less privileged. Those standing around her are pictured not as people, but as symbols of wilderness. The idea behind the shoot is a nice gesture, but it inadequately portrays Africa of its true identity. Africa's importance has been overlooked time and time again. Human origins, natural resources, and scientific discoveries are a huge part of what make up Africa and the world we live in. The bias portrayed in media, education, and through scholars are what instigate the preconceived idea of what Africa is.